maybe try to make it a little bit less than that. But I want to take a few minutes and just reflect quickly on what today is. So today is September 11th. It's the anniversary of 9/11, which most of you were alive for, but most of you don't remember, I would imagine. So it's always sort of an interesting day to be in schools, and the adults around you in your life, or people older than you, have more memories of this day than you do. It was a terrible, shocking day. I know that all of you are aware of what the day was. And what I want to just think about with you a little bit this morning is the effect of that day, okay? It was a day for, I would imagine that the people who remember around me would agree, sort of changed the way we thought about the world in kind of very overt and also some very subtle ways. We went, I think, from a world where it felt like we knew where danger was to a world where it was a lot harder to tell that, right? We learned in a way we didn't know that danger doesn't wear a particular uniform or follow a particular set of rules, a particular religion, or anything particular at all. That was a different and very, very scary thing. Since 2001, this has been added to by the increase in technology that has also blurred a lot of very traditional lines, okay? So the world has changed a lot around us. We used to be divided by things that we're now connected by. But on the other hand, danger is something that's harder to define or codify. So it seems like this might not apply to you because you live in the world you live in today. You're the age you are today in this world, right? So I want to ask you to think about that maybe a little bit differently, because I think it isn't quite as intimidating if you do. So here's why. When I was your age, as long ago as that was, it felt like we had these very easy ways to tell good and bad, right? Somebody was joking with me the other day about James Bond movies, right? The bad guys in the James Bond movie were bad and the rest of us were good, right? That's how we looked at things. It was easy to tell those things. At least it felt like it was easy to tell those things, right? It seemed like it was easy. Today, things seemingly aren't as defined. But I would argue that we probably, when I was your age, misinterpreted, assuming that large groups of people who dressed a certain way or looked a certain way or acted a certain way were dangerous or weren't dangerous was probably naive and frankly probably led to the sort of thinking that allowed something like 9/11, as tragic as it was, to happen. You all are very lucky, I think, and that you're being raised with a much more subtle understanding of some very, very difficult things. You're being asked to understand the world in a way that I wasn't asked to understand it. You're being asked to understand subtlety and difference in a way that I was not asked to understand it. You're being challenged every day to do that, whether it's in person or face-to-face. Whether it's face-to-face in person or via technology across a screen. Right? Either way, you're being asked to confront things that I, at your age, and we at your age, were not asked to confront. So what does that mean in the final analysis? Well, it means that you have a responsibility that I should have had when I was your age but didn't. And that's a responsibility that can be very simply put. That's a responsibility that demands that you try to understand and bring together rather than dividing. And technology gives you tremendous tools to do that. you know all of the various ways you have to both communicate with each other and to make comments on each other. You know better than I do the right way to do that and the wrong way to do that. So you have a responsibility that you don't have a choice not to embrace, to use the voice that you have because of that, to help people understand each other better, to get rid of difference rather than enhancing difference. You have a responsibility for that. I know a lot of you well enough to know that I am very comfortable with you having that responsibility. But just be very clear, on this day, we say it, but on every other day, in addition to this day, there is a tremendous responsibility that you have. You are picking that responsibility up maybe for my generation because I didn't take it. Right? You'll find that that's true of a lot of things, including when you are paying into Social Security for me. I am looking forward to that. But you have a responsibility in all seriousness. You don't have the choice not to take it. You should think about what that means. You should think about what that means when you're ready to send something that maybe you shouldn't, or when you're ready to send something that you really should, but you're scared to send. Okay? So today is a sobering day to think about what the history of it means in this country. But it's also a day for you and all of us to really embrace that opportunity. And I'm really excited about that for you and knowing you as well as I do. So I would ask you finally to just think about that a little bit. Right? I'm always glad to talk about that if you'd like to. You know where my office is. And I would ask you to really think hard about that responsibility and what that responsibility means to you. Okay? So I think with that, we can go head off to lunch and have a great day. Thank you.